Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Allie.
And I'm back, and I'm tan, and I watched the Champions League final, and we are ready to talk about it all. A big shout out to Amy. Thanks, Amy, for filling in. As always, we love when you're on and co-hosting with either one of us or with both of us.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Loved having a Brit taking over.
It was the perfect episode to have two, English people on because it was the closing of the WSL. So why not just let you guys go after it, right?
Exactly. The timing of your holiday was perfect.
I did it on purpose, But we are here to not talk about the WSL. We have massive games, Champions League, and so much NWSL. And in a fun twist, we usually do like our game of the week and then a bunch of different other topics later on. And today, we're just going to break down two games that were both rivalry, if you will, just fun games.
They were exciting games. Like, we knew we had to talk Champions League, but then when I was looking at like the NWSL, I was like, no, we have to talk about our second game. Like, there is no getting away from it.
Are we going to keep it as a surprise?
I think we should just tease it a little bit.
Yeah. A little tease.
Major rivalry in the NWSL.
Oh, that's too much of a hint. Let's throw them off the track. It was Pride Night at some places around the league. Maybe it was one of those. You never know. But let's get into it because the first thing we need to talk about is, of course, the Champions League final, Wolfsburg versus Barcelona. Allie, do you remember our picks for this? I think I remember my selection and potentially even my scoreline.
Ooh, I don't know.
I think I said 3-2 Wolfsburg in regular time, and I know I said if Wolfsburg are going to win, it's going to be in regulation. That is, of course, not what happened. The scoreline was 3-2, but in Barcelona's favor. Barcelona winning their second Champions League final, their third finals appearance in a row. They've now taken 2 out of 3. I have to ask, dare I say, can we call this a dynasty yet?
No.
And why not?
Come at me when they've won 6 in a row like Lyon. Or 5 in a row as it was. Like, come on now. Like, it's a bit too soon to start, like, saying that this is a dynasty. Are they a phenomenal squad? Absolutely. You just have to look at what they're doing in La Liga. But in terms of Champions League, they are babies. They are little tiny puppies that are ready to grow. So yeah, come at me when they've won it 5 times in a row like Lyon. Then we can start.
I think that's fair, but I do think that when we look back on this time period, we will look back on it in the same way we look back on like the golden era of Arsenal or like the golden era of Wolfsburg, and like they were the powerhouse of this moment in time. They just were, and we saw it in how they closed out the game. Let's get into it. Where did you watch it?
So it was my mum's 60th birthday. So we had on 2 different screens, we had the Champions League final, and then over in the UK we had the men's FA Cup final.
Yeah, we had that here too, unfortunately.
Because that was a huge derby over here. So we had it on both, and then like my dad is like running in, updating us with scores and stuff like that. Honestly, when it went 2-0 Wolfsburg, I completely went, what the hell are Barcelona doing? Like, this is it. They're done. Like,
really? You thought they were done?
Yeah. Because of the way they were playing that first half. The way they played first half, I was like, you lost for the first time in God knows how long in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're doing this? Like, what is going on, Barcelona? Are you having, like, winner's hangover? Like, I don't understand. And then, of course, second half they came out and I was like, all right, okay, fair enough. I was
Yeah, no, I love that you said that because I remember sitting there at halftime and I turned to somebody next to me. I was at a little watch party. I won a Wolfsburg jersey. It was great. Shout out to women in soccer, out of football, everybody who hosted that. It was amazing. And I remember turning to the person next to me and saying, this isn't a big enough lead for Wolfsburg. You cannot count Barcelona out. But I think that we were all thinking the same thing around Barcelona of like, we know that they lost last year. We know that they were coming off a skid in the league that is not like them. It was very possible that was just the Barcelona we were going to see for the entirety of the game. Let's talk about what Wolfsburg did so well this half. And to use the cliche, it truly was a game of 2 halves. But I can still say, even though it was a game of 2 halves, Barcelona were the better team. Hands down, they were the better side. They were deserving of this championship, of this win, and it was so much fun. Like, what a final. And, Wolfsburg played incredibly well too. So let's dig in. Wolfsburg absolutely dominated, I would say. Dominated's a big word, but I can still say I think that they dominated this first half. And we said going into this, Allie, we both agreed Wolfsburg are going to need to play a physical game because that is the only way to throw off Barcelona's rhythm. Because the moment they get in that rhythm, it's over, right? You're done. Just go home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we know the Wolfsburg can be physical because we saw it in the semi-final against Arsenal. Like, we know what their players can do. And also, I think getting that really quick goal was huge for Wolfsburg because we could see that Barcelona hadn't really settled into the occasion yet. Lucy Bronze made a very rare error for Lucy Bronze.
It was horrific. In the most horrific moment.
It was awful. Like, as an England fan, I was sat with my wife and we were both like, ooh, oh no, oh Bronzy, what are you doing? Oh no, what are you doing?
And I'll add though that Payor made her pay for that. Payor made that look easy. Like, yes, Lucy Bronze got her pocket picked, but not everybody scores that goal. That was a shot that had power, that had precision, and Payor, I think, potentially player of the match in this game. She was on it. She obviously got this first goal. She assisted the second one, which we'll come on to because I was laughing so hard when that one happened. That was hilarious. But credit to Payor as well. Like, Lucy did not just give up a goal. That was also an incredible finish by Wolfsburg. But I can't say enough, like, that's a great testament right there to the physicality that Wolfsburg were able to bring and how they were able to disrupt Barcelona. Because, look, I don't think I've seen a team really put Barcelona on their back heels like Wolfsburg were able to do. They were man marking in that midfield. When they were on defense, they were man marking in that central midfield, which frankly, if you had told me that they were going to do that before the game, I would have said, that's a terrible idea. You know what they're going to do? They're going to 1-2 touch right around your butts. But it worked. They were able to put a body on all of those incredibly skilled center midfielders that Barcelona have.
And I don't think Barcelona expected it. I think that was the biggest thing. I think that's what completely threw them because it felt like quite an un-Wolfsburg way of playing. It felt like they'd really watched Barcelona and gone, all right, this is how we're going to beat them. And it was very unlike Wolfsburg, which I think if Barcelona had been watching previous games, they would not have picked up.
Yeah. I don't want to hang it all on Keira Walsh because Barcelona have incredible players across the board. I think she was completely nullified in the first half, and I think that's why Barcelona struggled. I think Wolfsburg did a great job of completely nullifying her. It was all hanging really on Bonmati in Guijarro. And Guijarro, I mean, she had an incredible game, which we'll come on to. But it was the fact that Keira Walsh was able to find that ball in the second half that I think is part of what freed up Barcelona to do what they did. So credit to Wolfsburg, and you kind of saw that in the England game versus Australia. If you can shut down Keira Walsh, you can shut down a lot of ways that her team is trying to advance the ball because a lot of it goes through her. All right, let's talk about that second goal from Wolfsburg because, look, Wolfsburg knew that they weren't going to keep possession this entirety of the game. You just can't do it against Barcelona. And what they needed to do were capitalize on chances, and they did that in the first half. This second goal, Alexandria
Pop is just one of those players that you have to be in love with.
You have to.
Regardless of what your allegiances are, whether that's domestically or internationally, but she's just one of those players that transcends everybody. If you're not a little bit in love with Pop, then I don't know if you actually like women's football.
I think I fell for her a little bit. It was like we were starting to date in the Euros, and I was like, yeah, I like you. Wow, like I wasn't expecting this. And then I fell head over heels in love in this game. And it's not just this goal. It was everything about how she played. And
she's a game changer. She's an absolute
game changer. Alexandria Pop plays with a fire, with an intensity, with a competitive spirit that honestly, it's like a once in a generation mentality. I think that you see this in somebody. I don't really know how else to say it. Hopefully I'm conveying what I mean by it when I say, like, that the fire, the intensity, the passion, and the competitive spirit that she plays with is truly unmatched. And let's just spend a moment on this goal, because
this goal was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous, this goal.
So let's just detail really quickly for those who don't remember. The second goal was when Payor had it on the wing, and it was just an absolute gorgeous cross into Pop, who in the moment was pretty unmarked in the middle. And as Alexandria Pop does, she heads it in, and she was unmarked in the middle because of a little collision, if you will, with collision isn't the word, but an incident with Mape Leon. Listen, Mape Leon, if you're going to hold on to Alexandria Pop as she's trying to get away from you, you better assume that she's going to shove you to the ground. That was not a foul by any means whatsoever. Staying on Pop, staying on that goal, staying on the physicality, this leads us pretty nicely into the second half, because Barcelona started playing incredibly physically with Alexandria Pop to the point where it was just foul over foul over foul, and she was getting a little bit beat up. But honestly, it worked. She was essentially nullified in the second half by Barcelona.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, second half, Barcelona, some of us may have given up on them, but they have that never say die and decided, actually, you know what, we can do it. And then coming out so strong, a goal within the first 3 minutes, and then a second goal 2 minutes later.
Let's talk about the winners. Let's talk about Barcelona. And I think that, in talking about them, we'll talk about kind of what went wrong for Wolfsburg in that second half, because it's not really just what went wrong for Wolfsburg. It's really just, this was Barcelona coming out and firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, they came out super quick, and I think that's what offset Wolfsburg, because you look at the second goal, completely unmarked. She was completely unmarked, and I'm like, she's just scored against you. Like, why are you not focusing on this player?
Guijarro scoring a goal in the 48th minute and then again in the 50th minute, and that 50th minute goal completely unmarked. I mean, this is why I'm saying it is partly Wolfsburg, but it's really maybe mainly just Barcelona, because that was the brilliance of Guijarro knowing how she needs to hold her run in the middle, and then Wolfsburg completely paying attention to the other side of the field. Guijarro's able to sneak in the backside. This was Barcelona not only showing what they can do, on the field, tactically, technically, because we know that they're gifted at that. This was Barcelona showing that they, as a team, have a championship and winning mentality, and that is what has catapulted them to win the amount of games that they have won in the league, across the board, over the past 3 years. You don't do that. I don't care how bad any other teams are. You don't do that without that championship mentality, and that was on full display here in this second half. And a full credit to Barcelona. There's no team in the world that could handle that onslaught, and that is why they are the best.
Though, can we talk about one of the most ridiculous tactics, which was substituting Walsh for Putellas at
a ridiculous tactic?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because it was 89 minutes played, and they just put Putellas on for a minute.
Oh, I didn't find that ridiculous. She's coming back. She needs to get the minutes. I was sitting there.
Minute.
I'm glad we're talking about this.
There was no minutes. It was a minute. That is so stupid. Bring her on early if you want, or don't just...
I have no problem with it. When that happened, I was just sitting there being like, can you, effing believe that this bench is so deep that they are currently putting on Alexia Putellas for Kira Walsh? Come on. If you're Wolfsburg and you see that, and obviously, we know it's because she's injured, blah, 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 but come on. You have to look at that and be like, okay, we're just going to sub one of the best players in the world for another best player in the world. And we're talking about the bench now. We have to say, I do think that's another reason Wolfsburg collapsed in the second half and Barcelona were able to do what they did. Fresh legs and benches won that second half. Wolfsburg looked tired. We knew that after Barcelona scored that first goal, if Wolfsburg didn't respond in a mental and momentum way, if they didn't really show Barcelona that they weren't just going to fold, it was over. And guess what? They looked too tired to do that. And it was over. And that bench of Barcelona, it was just sub after sub, and it would not stop. And if you're Wolfsburg and you see, Putellas coming in, Jose coming in, Engine coming in, like it's just one after the other after the other. That is demoralizing, honestly, because it's just nonstop. And I do think credit to the depth of Barcelona that also won them this championship. All in all, this was an incredible game. I'm so happy that this was a final. A team coming back from 2-0 down to take it 3-2. I'm so happy that it was as fun of a game, as good of a game, as competitive as a game as it was for the world to see. And congratulations to Barcelona. Well deserved. All right, let's go around the world.
To Ireland, we are halfway through the season and Piedmont United are currently topping the league. They had an exhilarating match over the weekend, which resulted in a 5-3 win over Antillon Town. They are currently dominating the league with 10 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss.
And over to La Liga MX. The first of the finals was played on Sunday with Pachuca playing America and America taking the match 2-1. The second leg will have been played yesterday, Tuesday, but we are recording it just before this game is played, so we actually don't have the scoreline for that, but obviously check it out as this league is always on fire.
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
And now to the NWSL. We teased it earlier, but there was only one game. There was only one game we could cover for this one, and that, of course, was OL Reign versus Portland, because I love a derby.
Who doesn't love a Seattle-Portland rivalry game? It's one of the most fun just in the NWSL, always.
It's the highlight for my roster. Like, whenever we get the schedule, I'm like, yes, when are they playing?
Did you watch it live?
I did.
It was at like 1 a.m. your time, right?
Yeah, and of course I was going to watch this live.
I'm a hardcore soccer fan. I do want to call out, it was Pride Night here in New York for Gotham FC, and they had a record attendance of over 15,000, which is just so much fun. Emma Hayes, Her Royal Highness, was in attendance even. And Her Royal Highness Casey Stoney was in attendance because obviously Gotham was taking on San Diego Wave. That was a really fun game, but we're not going to break it down. I just wanted to call out, we love when, record-breaking attendances happen. We got to call that out. And as always, thank you to the gays for making that happen. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Also, there was a very cute moment with Kelly O'Hara and Alex Morgan's youngster, who almost got battered by a photographer. And so Kelly O'Hara, swooped in and picked Charlie up.
Again?
And handed her back to, yeah.
That happened like a year ago, too.
Yeah, no, it happened again.
Wow. All right, well, let's do it. OL Reign versus Portland. Portland ended up taking this 2-0. Fair scoreline, fair indication of the game, do you think?
I honestly think it's unfair on Seattle.
I agree.
Scoreline.
I agree.
I think Seattle were the better team all the way through.
Oh, I disagree with that, but I think it was more of a game than the scoreline indicates.
No, yeah, it was definitely more of a game, but I honestly think that Seattle were the better team all the way through. Yeah, except for the thing is that what they didn't have that Portland had was Bella Bixby. Bella Bixby, for me, was phenomenal for Portland.
This is so funny. I thought Portland were hands down the better side. Hands down, 10 out of 10, across the board, all 90 minutes, better side. B, I didn't think either goalkeeper had a great game. Tullis Joyce is one of the up-and-coming, bright, shining stars of goalkeepers, youngster in the league, and I've seen her play better probably every other time I've seen her play. And honestly, I thought Bella Bixby was shaky.
Ooh, why is that? Because she made some insane saves. The amount of shots that Rapinoe had on her that she was like pushing into the crossbar and out for corners.
I actually don't think it was that many. Many of Pino's shots went wide. But the main thing that came to my mind when I was watching this game was that Seattle were desperately missing Jess Fishlock. She makes such a difference in that midfield, and Seattle's midfield, they weren't nowhere to be found, but they were completely handled by Portland's midfield.
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. Are we watching the same game?
I don't know, honestly.
Because Seattle's midfield, I thought, managed to keep Portland at bay really, really well, considering the forwards that Portland have, and was constantly pickpocketing them, getting the ball back, and it was literally constantly getting the ball into Portland's third.
Oh, I don't agree at all. Mainly, we saw Sonnet and Quinn playing defense. That's what happened, and I want to spend a moment talking about Sonnet in that number 6 role because I actually really love her there.
But I was going to say, let's talk about Sonnet, because I want to give a shout out to Emily Sonnet, because that is not her normal position, really, is it? She is a centre back. That is generally what she's played for in previous teams. It's what she plays for when she's been selected for the US national team. So
she gets pushed to the outside for the national team, but yeah.
Yeah, but either way, it's backline. It's not a number 6 role. And since coming out to OL Reign, she has been amazing in this role.
Yeah. I think it's a testament to, as you said, her true position is as a center back. And if you've seen footage of her from college, actually what made her so dominant was not just her defensive abilities, but her ability to win the ball and then step into the midfield with that ball. You know, as a center back, making that run through the midfield. And so I think that it's less of a, for Emily Sonnet specifically, it's less of a defense translating to defense and more of a, I'm comfortable in the center of the park. And I think that's why we've seen her, dare I say, shining a little bit in this role, because it feels more natural to her. And at first when I saw this, I was like, Laura Harvey, what are you doing? You are probably killing this girl's chances of making the national team because she's playing so far out of position right now. And it has been maybe the best thing for Sonnet since she entered the NWSL.
Do not question Dame Laura Harvey.
Do not question
because Laura
her.
Harvey knows what she's doing.
Future coach of the U.S. women's national team. Dare I say.
Hands down, I would say. Laura Harvey knows what she's doing. So
All
do
right.
not ever question what Laura Harvey...
Well, we clearly were watching the same game because we agree about that. But I have to say, and this does not mean that either Sonnet or Quinn had a bad game. They both played
I
great.
thought Quinn was non-existent. It didn't surprise me that they got taken off.
Yeah. Well, I just think that Coffey, with the combination of Coffey and Dunn, they were able to frankly just control the midfield more. And spending a moment on the 6s, we did Sonnet. We need to talk about Sam Coffey. I think I've been pretty vocal about how incredible I think Sam Coffey is, how I wish she'd gotten more call-ups into the national team because she is such a star. And the way she is composed in that number 6 position, if you look at her heat map, she is everywhere. She was everywhere, and she was the one who was controlling the midfield. And that is why Portland were really able to control the game, because they were.
We shall agree to disagree.
I mean, let's just look at the stats. And stats don't say everything, but Portland, 54% possession, 19 shots, 5 on target. That's more possession, more shots on target than Seattle.
That's because, I will say, is I think that OL Reign, and I'm going to get so much hate for this because if everybody thinks I'm a mega repeater here, and I'm not, but I felt she was so selfish in this game. There were a few times where she shot when there was a better option either to her left or her right, which could have probably got in over what she was doing. Because
I did not feel that.
See, I swear, we're giving the fans what they want because they like it when we argue.
You know what? I actually, for the first time in Megan Rapinoe, because she's such a smart player, and
Yeah.
this entire time, her entire career, but specifically in the past year when she's gotten a lot of slack, I'll call it, for losing some pace, I've constantly said it actually doesn't matter because she plays so smart that you don't really realize how much pace she's lost. And I thought this was one of the first games where you noticed it. You really did. And I actually saw her attempting to lay the ball off. We saw Bennett looking to like slide out or even overlap Rapinoe a lot as Pino was dribbling into the center, and Bennett, who was playing that 9, was either slotting out or overlapping, looking for that ball. And Pino was always just trying to get to a spot before she dumped it off. But she couldn't get to that spot before the defender, and that happened multiple times. Not Pino's best game, in my opinion, but...
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Pino's best game. Like I said, I think she was a little bit selfish. There was probably some options open that she didn't quite take.
I feel like it sounds like I'm hating on Seattle and you're hating on Portland. I thought Seattle played great. And I truly think that when...
I thought Portland was good too, but I just think Seattle edged it.
You know why I think this game was really fun, other than it, being a rivalry? There are very few times in the NWSL, I think, where we have a game where it's 2 possession-based teams facing off against each other. And both of these teams are possession-based teams. And that made for a really fun game because it wasn't one's possession, one's counter, or both are counterattacking. They were both really trying to control this game, and it was a fun battle.
That was the big thing for me, and this is why this matchup never disappoints, because they were properly kicking 7 bells out of each other, and like it was a proper like in the middle defense. We saw it with Rapinoe versus Cuica. Like Cuica came forward, who we have to talk about in a minute, and Rapinoe complete with the slide tackle. But
I'm always happy to talk about Cuica whenever we talk about Portland, because she's so solid. She's always so solid. Like, if you think back to even the championship game last year, she was one of the bright stars of it. She is just so solid. Always.
This is the first time I've like really seen her in a match, because I tend to not watch. I watch other games rather than Portland. But this for me was just astonishing how well she's
so fun.
She played. She's a feisty defender. She's always getting in there. The link up between her and Dunn, I thought, was amazing.
I love that you call that out, because I have so much to say. I mean, I'll start with Crystal Dunn because you just landed there. But I mean, Portland, they're such a strong team that they can hurt you from any position on the field.
Absolutely.
And that's why people like, I think, Cuica kind of fade into the background, because there's so many stars that almost nobody shines because they're all so amazing. But I think specifically in this game, you could see just how much damage they could do from anywhere. Sam Coffey, Crystal Dunn, Morgan Weaver. I mean, I want to call out Hina Sugita because I thought she had such a great game. Japanese international, like, what a game from Hina Sugita. And then you mentioned Cuica, and I think that the Cuica and Kelly Hubley pairing in the center back and right back is such a strong one.
It's working so beautifully for them.
It really is.
So beautifully.
And the only weaker spot, I'm sorry, is the other side, the Menges-Klingenberg pairing.
And I think that's more on Klingenberg. And I like Klingenberg, I do. But Menges, I thought, did well, but she needed a better partner. If we're splitting them off into left back and centre back, right back and centre back, then Menges needed a better partner, because a bit like Quinn for ORA, I forgot Klingenberg was there half the time, to be honest. It was sort of a...
I've had my opinions on Klingenberg. I think that she's lost kind of too much pace to be playing in that outside back position right now at this point. Obviously, Becky Sauerbrunn was not in this game, and I thought that Menges did a great job in filling in. Becky came on later and really locked it down, but that is something to look out for Portland fans. The pairing of Klingenberg and Sauerbrunn could be dangerous, even if they're on different sides, because of the lack of speed. And you're never afraid when Becky Sauerbrunn is in the back line, because she reads the game so beautifully that she doesn't need the pace. But if they were coming up against their own front line and they were coming up against Morgan Weaver and Sophia Smith, it might be a problem.
Can we talk about Morgan Weaver for a bit? Because
yes, always.
I know she didn't get any of the goals, even though she was quite close, but she got assists.
Instrumental.
She was instrumental. She was absolutely everywhere on that pitch. Like, every attacking motion that Portland had, Morgan Weaver had a crucial part of it. Like, genuinely, my player of the match was Morgan Weaver in that one, because she was astounding.
Love her or hate her, and I think that maybe some people have like a bad taste in their mouth, and I'll just be upfront and say I certainly did, based on one of her first games in the NWSL and one of the fights that she got in really early on. It's in the past, and that girl can play. And she is such a key piece of this offense, dare I say, equal to the amount that maybe even a Sophia Smith is. Almost equal, not equal. Sophia Smith's one of the best in the world. Almost equal, but the danger that she presents, this is what I mean by this, the danger that Morgan Weaver presents frees up the likes of a Sophia Smith to do her thing. And not only the danger that Morgan Weaver presents in terms of a goal scoring ability, but like you said, assists. She can create. I mean, we just basically named everybody on this field for Portland. They are so dangerous. And I guess just to go back to Seattle quickly, I want to throw some love to Seattle, frankly. I thought that they did a really great job of locking down Portland. And they had a ton of dangerous opportunities. And on any other day, maybe would have put one or two of them away. Like, this league truly might again come down to a Seattle versus Portland, because they're so neck and neck and they play each other so well. And I just think, like I said, the missing dimension was in that midfield. And if you add Jess Fishlock back in, I think that you get that back. So it's really nothing wrong on Seattle's part.
I'm going to still shout out Bella Bixby, because I think she's in for a shout for the Golden Glove at the moment, because she is phenomenal for Portland. Like, so controls her back line so well, and considering there's big personalities in that Portland back line, I love Bella Bixby, and shout out to Bella Bixby.
What a game in the NWSL. Some other incredible games over the past weekend, but we just chose to cover this one because we had a lot to say about it. And honestly, I don't think we'd spent a lot of time, Allie, on either of these teams yet this season.
No, we do a lot of Gotham, we do a lot of San Diego and stuff like that. But for me, we had to cover that game because not only is it a derby, it was a fabulous derby.
Yeah. And tons of upcoming fun games in the NWSL Challenge Cup game tonight, Wednesday, when this episode drops. That's Gotham hosting Orlando. And then massive weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of games. I'm not going to list all of them. You go check it out. But games all 3 days of the weekend in the NWSL. So for all of you who are sad about the WSL being over, or sad about whatever league that you follow that is now ended, it's okay. The NWSL is here for you.
And also for international viewers who want to know where you can watch it, the YouTube channel, is it Danzin? I can never say it. DAZN, who did our Champion League, covers all of the NWSL games, and they leave them up so you don't have to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning to watch them like I do. Also, NWSL streams internationally on the NWSL website now. It used to be Twitch. It's now embedded in the NWSL website. So it's literally just Google NWSL, go to the website, and that's where you watch it. So there's no excuses.
No excuses. Go watch women's sports, and as always, check us out on Patreon. We have an incredible 8-episode mini-series, as we'll call it, that previews every single group in the World Cup, 1 episode per group. And if you check it out on Patreon, you get it a whole week early. So for those of our Patreon subscribers, they already listened to Group B, which is USA and Netherlands. And oh boy, that was a fun one.
Also check out, because I linked up with my Since 71 crew, and we broke down the roster for the England squad that dropped last Wednesday. So check that out as we talk about the hits, the misses, and what England's chances are in the World Cup. Definitely don't miss out on that one.
And you best believe we're going to do that when the US roster drops. And I have a little side bet going with somebody that we think that they're not going to announce the date for the US roster drop. We think that they're just going to drop it. Like Beyonce dropping an album. Just like, there it is. Take it and run with it, people. All right. And that is it for us here at the Women's Soccer Show. I've been Sarah.
And I've been Allie.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
This podcast was edited by Monkey Hill Media. Visit monkeyhillmedia.com for more information.